Boo Carter's going to Colorado. What the H? Is this a concern? He's a Tennessee commitment. How concerning is this for Tennessee fans, or disconcerting, should I say, that Boo Carter wants to go to Colorado on a scale of 1 to 10? In terms of 10, you're going to lose him, or 1, he's just visiting. How disconcerting is this for Tennessee fans?
I'm going to go 7. I'm not going to go all the way up to 10. I think this is a reaction to last week. Tennessee struggling. There are some concerns, and Colorado has all the momentum right now. But I think if Tennessee keeps playing, Boo Carter, by the way, tweeted that he's still committed to Tennessee. This is just an unofficial visit that he wants to go on for fun, which, Dave, as you and I both know, that's a total and complete fabrication, if there ever was one. But I'm still going to go. I'm not going to go all the way up to 10. I think that Boo Carter is just seeing again with Colorado. I know he flirted with them in the past, and I think he's a little concerned about the Austin Peay game and the Colorado game, and the Colorado momentum is kind of sticking to him. Guys, what people need to understand is this, and I want to make this clear, because fans think that you should be all in on a school no matter what when you commit, and that's just not how it works. It's very tough and difficult sometimes for players to determine, I like this school, but I like this school too, but I like this school, but I like this school too. And just because they're hedging a little bit for themselves doesn't mean that they don't think the other one could have worked. Okay, Peyton Manning has said plenty of times, just from a different factor, that he would have gone to Ole Miss had the thing not happened with Cooper Mays. Listen to me. Cooper Manning, excuse me.
Cooper Manning is though actually named after Cooper Manning. Did you know that?
I did not. He is?
Yes. His mom really liked Cooper Manning when they met.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
so
Peyton Manning is very clear. Peyton Manning didn't Tennessee was so obviously head and shoulders above everybody else. This is like the theory that people who follow recruiting think it are the same people who believe that there's one soulmate for you in life. There's not. It's not like there's just one clear-cut decision that stands over everything else. It's a tough decision to make. And I think that just because they're flirting with other schools, once they get on campus next year, that doesn't mean they're not going to be all in. So I don't worry yet. I think Tennessee has to keep winning to keep the momentum. And at some point, maybe reality will hit Colorado and maybe they'll lose a couple of games.
Okay, let me tell you why it's much closer to 10 than you think so. And I'm going to do something I rarely do, like once every couple of years. I'm going to come down on a prospect a little bit, okay? So some people will say, don't come down to Boo Carter. Be nice to Boo Carter. You're considered a Tennessee guy, Dave. You should welcome him with open arms. But the message board certainly doesn't seem to think that way. As Tom says, I'll pack Boo Carter's bag for him. I don't want him on the team. Tom also says, get his bleep out of here. You don't commit and then go to other schools. First of all, fundamentally, I don't believe that you commit and go to other schools. Now, I realize that happens, okay, and has happened for years, and that's the way things go. You do a silent commitment, and then you want to take advantage of your other visits, go for it. I would take all 5 official visits, but if I said I'm definitely going to your school, it would be a silent commitment. I would say, don't worry about it. I'm going to go to these other schools and take a look. So in a recent interview with the Chattanooga Times Free Press, he said, I have that opportunity. I'm going to go look. But you're talking about a young man who changed high schools during his career. You're talking about a young man who I believe got caught up in the recruiting process. What do I mean by that? I mean that he is a player that I think went from being a pretty big name in recruiting to a huge name in recruiting, and he enjoyed it. So I think you worry that the ego got a little bit bigger, and now Deion comes calling. The other factor is it's Deion, and that is the hottest program right now in college football. It might not be in a month, as you mentioned. They're going to lose some games, but it is right now, and that's exciting. And as far as closing, and Deion Sanders with their offensive coordinator, you mentioned yesterday, he closed on him, got him to go to Colorado in what was a risky career move, I think, going to coach for Deion Sanders at Colorado. He's gotten a lot of prospects that have done that as well. I think this is pretty close to a 10. And if you ask me right now to bet a mortgage payment on whether or not Boo Carter ends up at Colorado or Tennessee, I'd say I'm stepping back. I'm not putting my money on that at all because I think it's 60-40 Tennessee, not based off what I've heard. I'm just talking about reading recruits, which I'm pretty darn good at after 20 years. This guy could be easily swayed, I believe. He also made himself readily available for that interview by the Chattanooga Times Free Press to deflect things a little bit. The guy's trying to play the PR game. It reminds me of a Jalen Ramsey back in the day, who I've told you a lot of stories about. And he tried to deflect things as well, take all his visits. But this is different. You commit after you draw things out, you finally commit, and you're going to see other schools. And this is the hottest team in the nation. And by the way, Colorado is a beautiful place. I don't think he's ever been in love with Tennessee. I think he's been in like with Tennessee. I think this is a concern, but by the same token, I'll side with Tom on this. You want to cruise, roll on. That's where I stand.
Okay. All right.
If we're going to have this, it's specific to this kid, Caleb, because I understand you want to take your visits, but you tell Josh Heupel, I'm committed to you silently, but I'm going to take these visits. I'm going to go see Hawaii. It's specific to this kid. I'm not talking in generalities with kids. I get the feel from this kid.
Two things on that. First of all, I think sometimes the coaches, even if you get this, and I know Billy Napier did this with Florida in the summer. Sometimes even if you give a coach the silent commit, they want the public commit because they want the momentum to recruit other players. That part's clear. Florida was in deep trouble in the summer. And so I think Billy Napier kind of pushed for the silent commits. Like, can you go ahead and give me the public commit? Take your visits, but give me the public commit so I can try to get some momentum for the program. I think that, I don't know if you think that's exactly what happened. So maybe Josh Heupel asked for the public commit from Boone. I think that's very possible. So let's put that out there. Two, this old school way of thinking, if you commit, you should stick with it. Fine. A coach should never be allowed to leave a program if he's under contract with that program.
Well, no. You're talking about generalities again. If Josh Heupel leaves, I think every prospect, even if he signs in the early signing period, if Josh Heupel leaves the next week, I think they should all be free to go. I'm not talking in generalities. I just get the feeling from this kid that he could do something impetuous and end up at Colorado and say, I'm going to make a splash because I'm caught up in the recruiting world and the recruiting cycle.
So you're caught up in the recruiting world. So what? It's
so
fun.
What they lose him, or so what he visits?
So what he visits, and they're caught up in the recruiting world. Get caught up in it. It's fun. I mean, I'd love to be a recruit getting offered and visits everywhere. And by the way, I don't mind. Okay, Tennessee fans, this is why your program has been in the dumps until Josh Heupel, because there was this belief, and Derek Dooley was the worst about this. This is probably why he was terrible at recruiting. What was his name?
He didn't go to high school football games would be the biggest thing.
Players shouldn't commit for themselves. They should commit for the greatness of the university. Nobody does that. They commit for themselves. They're not committing because they love Tennessee and they want to make Tennessee good. They're committing because they think Tennessee is the best place for them personally. Stop thinking that players are committing to you because of the prestige of your program and the history of Robert Nayland, and the players just want to be a part of that. No, they're committing for themselves.
Again, you're talking about generalities. You're talking about generalities. This kid, I don't think necessarily ends up at Tennessee.